Is that what?
Yeah, that's Casey.
I thought it was leadership. Oh, I guess you're right. This is.
Do anything this morning? You look down? I know. Okay, we recess. Good morning.
Morning. Well, it's called good news and bad news.
Looks like you've been busy.
Well, the good news is Stafford County was lucky. We had that meth head murderer, Mr. Orr, swing through here twice. And the worst he did was steal somebody's vehicle, which in the grand scheme of things, I'm sure that person didn't appreciate it, but it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, right.
Now, it's kind of funny, I retraced the steps back. He came back with the vehicle he stole. But, as I point out to people, on the vehicle he stole from Stafford, when he brought it back, it had a stolen tag on it. I mean, in other words, he was floating pretty much between McPherson and here for about, through Lyons and into Stafford County for about 2 days, then he made his move north. But it was just totally random crimes. I mean, he'd drive past, you know, equipment, whatnot, that'd be sitting there that you think he'd help himself to. And some of the houses he went into were, how should I say, not the high dollar houses.
In Stafford County?
No, here, as far as I know, he didn't go in any houses. He stopped in Lyons and got high, and then went north, and that's when he started going into houses. But he's one of these guys who's he's left-handed, and he's got all these needle marks. I mean, nothing subtle about him.
Well, Ellsworth was fortunate he went ahead and pleaded guilty, not have to spend
Well,
some trial, right?
What we did is we, you know, were busy tracing his footsteps, and we had all these possible charges. And after he sobered up, so to speak, he's basically said if we drop all the property crime charges, he'd plead to the murder. Now, works for me. And sure enough, he pled guilty and allocated. It's one of the tighter pleas I've ever seen, you know. He basically just doesn't care.
Doesn't sound like he couldn't care.
He'd been out of prison, I think, for about 4 or 5 months before he started this spree. So a psychologist would say, deep down inside, he wanted to go back. Or he makes no decisions, you know.
Yeah.
Things are provided for him. He has no responsibility.
I know a guy who came, spent 16 years, he spent 4 years, spent 16 years, got out and got drugged, so he could get thrown back in.
I mean, this was a totally random crime. This is where the guy who got shot had the misfortune of being home at the time in the basement. And he comes up and here's Mr. Orr basically having a bottle of pop or a can of pop, which you take out of the guy's refrigerator. In other words, Orr is just having lunch in the guy's kitchen.
So that's the good news?
Well, the good news is it could have occurred anywhere, and even here. I mean, because this Orr guy just doesn't care. I mean, he cruised through here twice, and he did very little damage, like I say, in the grand scheme of things. I'm sure the owner of the pickup truck is out some personal property. Hopefully he's, you know, got insurance to cover it. But it could be a lot worse. And today we're going to sentence a Kenton Boone, who's a repeat burglar and thief down here. He was part of that. Remember that burglary spree we had beginning of '08? Oh, you know, the pizzeria, the various restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
Cash registers, yeah.
Yeah, he was one of that crew. We're going to be sent, because he's turned 16 now. He was 15 at the time. We're going to send him to the juvenile correctional facility. I'm like 95% certain I don't see him getting a pass from the court today at 2 o'clock. But that begs the question, and let me take a step back here. This year, unlike previous years, this year we have been spending a lot of money on juvenile detention costs. That's why I brought you up there with that thing. You know, the adults, you know, we're spending, what, $45 a day for these juveniles. I'm believing it's either $125 a day or $150. That adds up real fast. So the question that, and we've had a couple people we've had to detain for significant periods of time. Mr. Caleb Thompson, he's in a juvenile correctional facility now as I speak, but he was also one of these burglars. And now we've got Mr. Kenton Boone. And obviously, the juvenile burglars don't have money, but by law, we're allowed to try and recoup these costs from the parents. Now, the question then becomes, how far do you, the county commissioners, want me to push that? That's pretty much an economic decision, you know.
Yes, how would it balance out?
Well, my past experience has shown me at the very least, you know, you get a judgment against the parents and you might get a couple of garnishments in. Again, you know, it's doable. I can't, you know, really say with accuracy what you'd recover. Boone has a father who's in Iuka. Last time I looked, he was employed, so that's a target. We're going to have another one coming up here soon. I have to check this kid's name, not name, age, to make sure he's over 14 before I announce his name to the public. But somebody I prosecuted and convicted here, and it looks like he was a bad person over in Reno County, and they're sending it over here, which they can do in juvenile cases. And like I say, I'll check this guy's age before I mention his name, but this is a potential detention case because I'm getting tired of his antics.
What's been your success rate in doing this?
In collecting money? We always get a judgment. That's not a problem. The question is collecting in the judgment.
But have you been able to collect, recover some of that?
Yeah, we collect, you know, I have, before I came down here, I looked at what I had in another county. We had a bunch of kids, either Johnson County or Wyandotte County, who stole a car and, you know, ran from the police, and we ended up incarcerating them for a while. And we got judgments against the parents for like $1,200, $1,500, and so we probably have about $4,000, $5,000 total. We probably collected about $2,000 before the parents started to play the game of, you know, try and guess where I work.
Well, I believe that the parents are responsible for these, a lot of their actions. I mean, we can't.
I'd like to try it once, see what we...
I mean, you know, basically, because I bring the action in your name, I have to get your approval.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind doing it, not in the least. I'm just saying, don't spend the money until I recover it. But here's the biggest problem. If you get juveniles who are like 17 or 16, 17, with a straight face, you can ask the court to treat them as adults, which means we can lock them up in an adult jail, which works for me. When they're 15 or 14 or however old this kid is, again, I'm going to have to. He was born in '94. You're not going to get them treated as adults unless they murder somebody. So you're stuck, you know, either letting them run amok in the county or detaining them. And when you detain them, like say you're bleeding at the rate of $150 a day.
Yeah.
Seen some bills come
Yeah.
up, very expensive.
Yeah, but, you know, I mean, this Boone needed to be locked up.
Yeah, I think that's.
So I will give it a try then, and we'll see.
You agree with that, Ron?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
It's like JD said, parents are responsible for the
Yes,
kids.
yeah, they should be here now.
They did have some guidance before they got this far.
Yeah.
And for the life of me, I have no idea why it costs so much to house a juvenile as opposed to an adult. I've yet to have
I don't
anybody explain that to
understand
me.
it either. I've never understood
I
that.
thought it was 175, maybe they went down.
No, this last voucher we had was
It's
$150.
expensive.
It's $4,500 a month.
Yeah. And like I said, all it takes is a 14 or 15-year-old like repeat burglar, and your hand is forced.
Yeah.
This isn't like, gee, I don't like the kid, let's lock him up. It's like, he cut a pretty wide swath with his other little friends.
you know his dad's passed?
Not at all. I mean, you know, all I know is the mother's in Colorado. She's pretty much safe. I mean, we're not gonna go chasing people in Colorado, but dad's, you know, the next county over, I think we can get service on him, you know, money well spent.
We got 14 of them are paying for it.
Yeah, basically, you got a couple who are serving time, for example, Mr. Coons and Mr. Applegate. You got a couple who are awaiting sentencing, like Mr. Harry's, Mr. Denio, Mr. Bates, Mr. Frankenberg. You get a couple who are awaiting trial, Mr. Slade, Mr. Dale Cooper, who's actually nuts, but except I seem to be the only one who thinks he's nuts, because every time a shrink looks in this, he's just fine.
I think he's nuts when he wants to be.
Mr. Maddox kind of holds the key in his hand. He was in a dispute with his girlfriend that led to him thumping on her, and he's been in there now over a week or so, and usually that's, you know, sufficient to make your point. Cedar comes up for sentencing December 5, 08. He was with Dawn Paulson. So we pretty much wrapped everybody up in the 2 Paulson meth busts. The only one we didn't convict was Mr. Morgan, because he hadn't died of an overdose.
Beat this way out.
Well, it's pretty frightening. He was only like 38 years old.
That's too bad.
I was up there in Hudson. And Mr. Slade, who's in jail awaiting trial, was arrested at Mr. Morgan's old residence. Okay, and then I have my current headache. Every now and then you'll get a headache, and the headache is we have one of these child in care cases where I can't go into great detail because it's all confidential. You're not supposed to discuss it. In fact, there's supposed to be all kinds of penalties imposed if you're breaching these confidences. And we seem to have a renegade police department there in Stafford, which, as near as I can tell, decided to go tell tales of what happened in the child in care case and get people all stirred up, and they filed a disciplinary complaint against me. Now, I am not worried about that in the least. I'd worry if the other attorneys in the child in care case or the judge filed a disciplinary complaint, but this is just ludicrous. So what you have is a situation where I have to take time off from some of my duties, such as pursuing, you know, some of these personal property tax judgments, which I actually have planned on doing. I have to go, you know, sit down with Tom Burscheit and probably, I estimate, burn about 20 of my workable hours responding to this. Like after I'm done here this morning, I'm going to jet up to Great Bend, get Judge Keeley to sign an order which I prepared saying I'm allowed to disclose court documents from these closed child in care cases to Mr. Burscheit, my attorney, and also to the disciplinary administrator's office so I can respond. I can't just, I mean, with a criminal case, for example, that's a public record. You know, if you are so inclined, you can go upstairs and pretty much look through any criminal case you want, see what happened. But these child needed care cases are closed to the public, and juvenile offender cases, juvenile criminals are closed to the public if the juvenile is, I have to look at the statutes, either 13 or younger or 14 or younger. That's why I guess I would mention the name because I'm not sure the kid's age. Child in a care case like I said are closed, so I'll get the judge to allow me to, Judge Keeley, who's the chief judge, to allow me to release them. And then I sit down with my attorney and we make a response, but the biggest problem is it takes away from my availability to do other functions. In other words, everything gets pushed down a notch in the ladder. Like I say, on this, you know, sue for detention costs, it'll get put on a list of things to do. I mean, Lisa thinks I ignore her just because I'm contrary, but she unfortunately gets bumped a lot. Like I say, Mr. Orr was taking priority, but now I got him taken care of. I you know, can readjust things. right now in Stafford County, most of my time is spent not so much on adults, but these juvenile offenders. Those things kind of come in waves. That's what I describe. You'll have a bad batch,
Yeah.
and then it'll be quiet for a while. All in all, 2007 was very quiet with respect to juvenile offenders. 2008, way different.
Other states I don't even know. I mean, I know something, but.
What you're going to find, and this is true of virtually every rural county in Kansas, is in the grand scheme of things, you have lots of very cheap and/or affordable housing in smaller towns. And you have people, for example, who drifted into Hudson, and like, how the heck did they find Hudson? Because you just check and see where they came from. They came from Odessa, Texas. That's quite a distance. I mean, you have to bypass lots of towns before you get to Hudson, Kansas. This Slade guy, I'm not sure where the heck he's from. Florida when you run a criminal history, it's the last place he was arrested. So how does he find his way from Florida to Hudson, Kansas?
Somebody there probably gave him a map that went rid of it, don't you imagine? They gave him a map and said, here's your expense money.
Some of these people, I can point out where they drifted in from, but in terms of homegrown, the answer is probably 1 out of 3 is homegrown. Mostly you're dealing with transients.
Do they just keep running from a different law, I suppose?
Again, I think a lot of it is they're looking for towns that are, have affordable housing, i.e. you have a pulse and 1 month's cash rent, you can get in there, and no police department or limited police presence.
Yeah.
Okay,
I would tend to suspect that with that, I'm not trying to rent a house in either town, I would tend to suspect that you could probably find fairly reasonable rental property in Maxville, but Maxville doesn't seem to attract these transients, perhaps because you got a sheriff who lives there and you also have a city police officer, Troy Wright. Maybe the presence of sheriff's vehicles or cars frightens them away.
You've got undersheriff in there too.
That's just a supposition on my part. But Hudson, even though it's a very small town, it does seem to attract a lot of transients.
I thought they took it on themselves to clean up a bunch of those houses up there.
They are, aren't
They did.
they?
They're going through the process of passing ordinances right now.
They joined our,
Yeah.
I think,
Trying.
that's not a, I think, voting committee.
I think they'll crack down on it as soon as they get everything.
This needs to happen, a lot of these things.
Because in Ellsworth County, for example, one town that's becoming a problem town, used to be a really good town, it was Holyrood, Kansas. And for years, Holyrood, Kansas was, how should we say, the company town for Northern Natural or Enron. That's where all the people who worked at that gas plant, you know, compressor plant on Highway 4 lived. And now that plant, the workforce at it has been cut by like 80–90%. So you got lots of available housing in Holyrood. They seem to be getting lots of no-goods. Somebody from Oregon. How the heck do you find Holyrood from Oregon?
Off of I-70.
I can understand, you know, a town like Wilson, which is right on I-70, attracting no goods. I understand Russell attracting no goods. But, you know, some of these little towns, you gotta get off and try and find them. Lorraine, Kansas is a real problem town.
Really?
Yeah, it is now, yeah, sure. Geneseo has always been a problem town. And it, one time, was fairly prosperous back in the days when oil patch was up and you also had more labor-intensive agriculture. I mean, all those people that Joe Hunter used to employ had to live somewhere. Now, if you ever met Joe Hunter, there was a couple of very well-to-do farmers on the Rice County, Ellsworth County line, and Joe Hunter was one of them. He's the one who was a county commissioner for a while and ran for Congress. And he, of course, has a blacktop road named after him called Hunter Boulevard. And for a while there, he was kind of like, I'll say, a poster boy for county commissioner of bad behavior.
He's the one that got caught.
I mean, he never did anything dishonest. It's just that funny, the roads that got paved tended to be roads leading toward his locale. I mean, he kept getting reelected.
You got a minute more, I'd like to have an executive session with you to discuss non-elected personnel, about 10 minutes.
Sure. Pretty good. I have a couple more things I wanted to do, but like I said, this on the personal property taxes, these are the taxes we don't collect. They become judgments. We can arguably get the sheriff to go seize them and sell them. And of course, you want to make sure you're not foreclosing on a saltwater disposal well or something you really don't want.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Doris?
Okay. This nice little fat document is a reapplication for Medicare. Apparently they have a national database now, and all they have is a skeleton information on our health department, and so we need to reapply so we can go into Medicare food funds. So I kind of weeded it out. There's it's required that you guys sign a letter that if they overpay us, you'll pay them back. A lot of this doesn't even apply. And then I need 2 authorized signatures. This legally binds us to laws, regulations, and program instructions of the Medicare programs. I need an authorized signature there. And then also, I signed as a delegated official because it says if no delegated official is assigned, the authorized officials will be the only people who can make changes or update to the status of the Medicare program. So I don't think it's on. Somebody needs to sign this. And then we're also going to have the payment sent by electronic funds transfer. Lisa has that. Lisa knows that.
But this wasn't in place or something? We've had this in place, but you
We've been
need to update
Medicare
it?
supplier for years, and then they said they need more information on file than what we have.
Yeah. So they just have a skeleton document on
They
hand.
have skeleton information about us.
They want a full
No,
body
no,
count
They
now.
want a, yeah, one of the skeleton, no, that's mine. So when Lisa gets the other page completed, then I can send this in. I told her I'd like to do it today.
You want us to go ahead and act on this today then?
That'd be nice, yeah. And
Well, I'll make a motion, we go ahead and do these signatures to authorize, I guess, Medicare payments.
Second.
And who to sign?
You're to sign that. And I guess Lee and I can sign these 2, right? Does it take 2 or one individual?
takes 2 different ones. Okay.
You want to be first authorized or second?
No, that was mistake.
Is there a second? You second the motion, right? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Probably copy that for your phone, don't you?
Let's see.
You got a file, a copy
I'm
up
gonna
there.
copy the
don't
whole
you?
thing.
I don't need it up here, you got it down
And a
there.
lot of them,
Right
like I
here.
said,
Here.
Yeah.
we're not like a diagnostic center. I really didn't know how to do the ownership thing. I'm still trying to study that.
The ownership?
Yeah, because it says organization with ownership, interest, or managing control, and then on another page, it says individuals, so I did it over here.
Are you, should we just write in the names, or you want to type them in, or?
I've been writing it in, just handwriting. And one in state licensure where we don't have any.
Well, that one was like.
We're not licensed, yeah, we're unlicensed. Like,
Right, we're in two.
Okay.
Yeah,
anyway, that's really, I didn't Christmas today, aren't you, I got some chocolate at home last night.
Oh,
I
yeah,
forgot.
it's been replenished.
I was gonna replenish it because I
Would you
ate it
like
all.
some?
Well, it's been kind of a chocolate morning, so maybe.
There you go.
So the
Oh, looky in there.
Threw all the old away.
health department phone number or courthouse?
The county clerk's number. Dark chocolate's supposed to be good for headaches, I wonder is it worse?
620.
Just say call.
549.
Just have to call him.
There's your cell phone number on it.
09. And then when they call, I'll give them your phone.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
22.
it's actually a chocolate kind of weekend.
So is Lee, first name is Lee,
What?
It's a chocolate kind of
Oh,
weekend.
really?
middle initial,
You can get much
That's,
sweet.
that's just, that's Marvin,
huh?
Really?
Marvin,
Your name's Marvin?
I don't usually want to have to.
Learn something new every day.
I think got a little backup from that.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do
I
it
was
like
down,
you know.
I was down to Pratt the other day, and I found them, so I just got 2 of these, so still got one at home.
No one ever know my name.
And you can't read your signature.
The JD. Top secret.
Oh, but there's ways. I bet there's. That's great.
Sit here next time. Breathe.
You guys have anything for me today?
We're just waiting for the 1st of October.
As are you.
No. We had some communication over the weekend. Texted, emailed me a couple times, with some questions, so.
We'll probably all get together. First gets here, okay?
That's what I told him.
First thing.
Yeah, that's what I told him.
And I bounced the idea of the community get-togethers. They're good with that.
Okay with you?
So we need to start.
Yeah, we'll find out what days work for him, I guess. If it's okay for him. Yeah. Well. Nothing else?
Put one for the road?
Better.
You sure? You can put one in your pocket, have it later.
That's one.
Change your mind, didn't you?
I'll have one, thank you.
All right,
Take
thanks.
some drugs for my headache.
Okay, nothing else right now?
Nope.
Go recess?
Okay. Everybody ready to read? There it is.
You start. You read.
All, I don't know how many hundred pages there are in there. And I printed off the promulgation stuff that she sent me to, and I think just the chairman has to sign it. I printed off 3 of them, so I didn't know for sure. But, and like I say, I don't think there's a huge rush on that. It's just whenever we get a chance, or you guys get a chance to go through the plan or whatever, if that's what you like. So. And like I say, I haven't read completely through it yet, but I started on it.
Okay, I guess we probably need a little time to review it before we.
Right, yeah,
act
that-
on it.
Yeah, so, but anyway, like I say, she said just whenever whenever you get done with it or whatever, and then sign it. And I don't know who the chairman is for the planning committee, the local emergency planning committee.
Yeah, Woods.
Who?
Yeah.
No, he's zoned. That is it.
Okay, all right.
Doris might know.
Okay, so,
I bet she.
yeah, Yeah, 'cause I don't know, like I say, I don't know if that was Jason, I don't know who it was.
Jason was actually had the meetings over there.
Yeah, so, but anyways,
Well,
we
that'd be
can check on that too, and like I said, well, yeah, we'll probably have to change it. So, but anyway, and like I say, so whenever we're done with it or whatever, and if that's what you guys like, just have to sign that and send it back to them, so.
All right.
One of the other things that I've been doing some researching and stuff, and I don't know if all of you've been out to the building out there and seen how
I've been out
cramped
for a while.
it is. I mean, we're cramped. And I was doing some looking, and I'd come across some paperwork where Stafford had went through the USDA home or community development grant and got funding to redo that station that they're in now. And I was gonna ask you guys if it'd be okay if I start kind of looking into that and see, you know,
Yeah.
we can put in for that, because, I mean, I don't know that necessarily if we need, you know, what the funding we could get, you know, if we could do a new building or just add on to give us some more room. But, like I said, I was gonna do some looking into that, if that was all right with you guys. And, 'cause I'm not sure when the applications are due, probably not till later in the year, but,
You might do some groundwork and see what.
Is this USDA grants or loans?
yeah, it's grants. This was a grant, because the grant, they said, will pay up to like 75%. And then, but I did notice too that there was loans in there too, and I didn't really read into that, because, I mean, I didn't know how that was gonna work, so, but I was just gonna do some research on it and see, you know, what all entails that on there, so.
Okay, good.
But, and something that had been brought up prior to Jason leaving was he was wanting us to check into paint for the building, and just paint the building for now. Just, you know, kind of make it look a little better. I haven't checked into costs on any of that,
The
but,
building definitely spruced up, looks pretty bad.
yeah.
We might kind of hold off another week
Okay,
to,
yeah.
then you can discuss the thing.
Okay, all right, that's fine. So, oh, okay. Talk to him? Okay, cool. So,
Everything else going pretty smooth?
as far as I know, I guess, well, we had the pumper truck came over and helped them with that fire here in town this weekend. Saturday or Sunday morning, I guess it was. One of our guys, or Misty, actually brought the truck over and helped them out. And other than that, I'm looking at, there's some some South Central Kansas Homeland Security meetings that are coming up. I'm gonna try to go to some of those. There's one coming up, and maybe Kevin will want to go to it. There's one coming up the 1st of August, or October. And then there's another meeting coming up this Wednesday. It's it's part of that South Central Kansas Homeland Security group, but it's actually tagged, it's called the Force Group. It's actually, there's 19 counties in this region, and this Force Group is a conglomeration of fire departments around each county. And like when we went down to the Barber County fire, they activated that group, and they pull however many trucks they can from each county, and then they all meet up and go down to assist in these big disasters or big incidents, whatever the case may be. So they're having a meeting in Wichita on Wednesday, and I'm going to try to go to that and kind of see what's going on. So I don't know if we're a part of it yet or not. I haven't received any literature on it, so I was going to go see what it's all about and look into it. So, like I say, I know that they kind of, well, I think some of them might have come over and helped whenever we had the tornadoes come through and everything. So I'd like to be able to help them, give some back to some other communities too, if possible. So, but anyway, so I'm gonna check that out and see how that goes. Other than that, I think everything else is still operating. haven't heard anything, so.
Have you found anything about the mitigation plan for the schools?
The hazard mitigation,
Yeah. Isn't that an
Kinda-
outside firm that's doing that?
trying to remember, I think I come across something about that here a while back, and I don't remember if we kept looking into that or not. Let me do some checking.
There was a grant that was awarded to have an outside source
Right,
do that plan.
right.
And I thought I was told once that phase 1 was completed.
Mhm,
And it's a 3-phase project.
mhm.
And I don't know, there's like 3 consulting firms in the state that does these, and I don't know who we're using or.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Let me do some checking on that and see what I can come up with. We'll have to, I'm not even sure who I can get a hold of, but I'll do some checking and see what I can come up with on that. Cause I know that that was the
It's
next
the
thing.
safe rooms.
Yeah, that was the next thing, that I remember that was on our list that we needed to get done was, I think it was that one, or there was another one that we still needed to get done too. Something with hazardous materials, or it may have been that hazardous mitigation plan. I can't remember which one it was, but yeah, I'll do some digging on that and see what I can come up with. See where we're at on that.
Good.
Anyhow, I think that's all I've got.
And what's the deadline on this, or is it?
She didn't say, so, just the way I understood it is whenever you get through it, or, and are satisfied with it, you just fill out the paperwork and send it back to them. So.
All right,
Yes.
thanks.
Yep,
Thanks, TJ.
you bet.
What else is Andy?
We had a conversation last week at the office that we talked to Doris about, maybe she called up and maybe talked to Anita about it, about finding out if there was any possibility of mileage reimbursement for our classes and stuff that we're taking. They said to come out and talk to you guys about it.
We checked with our legal counsel, and there's nothing in there for reimbursement because it's not a, I'm not sure how he described it.
It's not a required.
Card.
Mm-hmm.
We don't pay the other officers, so we.
Well, that's what we wondered, because we
Right.
thought, since it said that for furtherance of an employee's job, if it would fall under anything like
But
that.
you volunteered to do this on your own, and you weren't required to attend a certain thing.
Mhm.
And this is what he said, it wasn't covered.
Okay, well, that's what we just
Okay.
find out for sure.
All right, but
All right.
it's not, okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, uh-huh.
You wanna go this first?
That's fine, we'll just wait and let,
Can I keep the
yeah, I
paper
think
you
probably,
signed?
do we want to let him look at it?
Probably.
So I'll just hold it till he comes here. Put that with it. Anything else?
No.
Do you have? Okay.
To recess in.
Okay. On this mitigation plan, there should be a contract someplace that was signed by someone to write the mitigation plan. And
Jason, it's probably out there at EMS.
And as far as my understanding, there was only like 3 agency or companies in the state that writes these plans. And there was money received, a grant was received to pay these consultants to write the mitigation plan. And so, in the minutes, you said it was
It said
$40,000. And, but we have no record of that money being deposited.
What was that?
So,
Was it received or just applied for?
Yeah.
they read it and received.
Read that.
Did we receive or applied?
I'm trying just to.
It wouldn't have come in under the school funds. would
It was January 28th. A request was made to have the commissioners accept the $40,000 grant for the hazard mitigation plan.
To accept for approval, to get the board submitted, probably then, right?
No, I think it was to accept the grant, that you got it.
I'll keep researching.
And I'll look too.
I don't know if it would have, I mean, I'll have to go through detail of some of the funds, like, in case by chance we would have just put it like in this Fund 22, the Stafford County EMS Fund, or in Fund 15, Rural Fire, if we thought it was gonna be an in and out thing. But usually we run it through a grant fund, so I don't think we would have done that.
Are you still in on page 4?
No, I went to page 1, to our county funds
EMS
budgeted.
is 22?
Yeah, or see the rural fires fund 15, up a few.
15?
15 and 22, I probably should look through the detail of all of those receipts to make sure, just in case.
Well, that's, rural fire is an in and out. No,
These are just, that's just receipts through the
Okay.
year and disbursements. Tax dollars.
oh, this is tax dollars,
Usually.
usually.
Like I said, not unless I would have mistakenly received it incorrectly, but I will look at the detail on
So
that.
that was January of this year,
January 28th.
January 28th.
Do you guys want to wait and I go get like January and February receipts for those funds? Or you just want me to?
I think we need to find,
We, that's where it's at.
if they're gonna do some
Adjust.
digging out there, you do some digging, and we're gonna come up with this.
Yeah, we do.
And there also should have been a contract signed with this consulting firm that's writing the plan. Because if I recall the conversation, it was too detailed for one individual to sit down. It's not just going on the computer and filling in the blanks.
Okay.
It's
There'd be a
more in
hard
detail,
copy.
and it's many man-hours involved in writing this plan. And that's why there was a high ticket item, which I was thinking 20,000.
Would the superintendent's been involved in that too?
No,
I didn't know if they would have.
because they have to have, the mitigation plan has to be written. Then it goes to the superintendent, and then, from my understanding, and then the superintendent, they apply for federal funds to build.
And Stafford never did receive.
Well,
Well, and I was
Do
told
we
earlier
even
this
receive
year
it?
that they had completed phase 1. Now, what is phase 1? Is it a 3-phase plan? But they had completed phase 1, if I recall. And this was early part of, yeah, this was spring, this was March, or, I don't know if we could go back on tape.
We're still on.
No, I meant
Oh,
in whenever that statement was made.
we can certainly get that for you if you'd like.
But I don't remember the name of the consulting firm, if it was ever mentioned. But we got 40,000 someplace.
well, or does it come to us or does it go to the schools once they do
No,
their part?
I mean, it's the county's
The
responsibility
40,000 was to get the plan written.
to get the plan written.
Oh,
That's-
okay.
That's the
I
consultant's
figured you
fee.
write a plan and then,
No, but this here was,
No,
This is
this
for-
was to have the thing written.
This is it's a book,
and I'll
but
just.
the grant was
Yeah.
received to,
I'll get with them out there and see if they have a file or anything on it. And then we'll
Do some digging too.
so I'd like to know where we're at.
Yeah, we
Are we
need
in
to know.
phase 3,
Yeah.
or?
Well,
Is it
yeah,
done?
And we need to know where that. money
And if
is.
you're on a certain time limit, I don't know
That
how
I
those
don't
steps
know.
go. Okay, yeah, I'll,
Plan has to be written first, or then it goes to the school, or it goes to somebody, and then it's federal money. Well, I imagine, in part, probably they don't.
I asked Lisa if she recalled anything either, and she didn't. That those kind of amounts usually stick out at us, but
Especially if they're an EMT.
Yeah.
don't they?
yeah. But
Okay.
we'll check into it.
All right. Back to can of worms.
We'll recess again.
How's everyone this morning?
Are we crime free for the weekend?
Yeah, as far as I know, it's correct. I have a salary increase recommendation for Bill Boyle, starting in October 1st. I'd like to increase his from range 8, step 6F to range 8, step 7G. Bill does his job well, and I recommend that he gets the increase.
Is this the deputy over?
No, that's Dennis.
Yeah.
Dennis lives in Stafford. Bill lives here. I believe Bill's been here 6 years, 5
It's
years.
been quite a while. Six F to 7G. I move we raise Bill Boyle's pay rate from 6F to 7G.
Second that motion.
Move to second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Did Joe give you the list?
Oh, I'm on the list. We give Joe the list.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make it certain you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, bro, I talked to Joe, party called, yeah, a long time ago, about 3 weeks ago now. People hauling stuff out to our solid waste out here for the
Right.
demolition stuff. They go down this road,
Right.
rough road over here by the burn site, so they go
Right.
around that way rather than going around the highway. And they're not being very careful with loads, they're blowing off and shaking off and
Right.
and get flat tires like you can't. And I asked him if there's anything we could do to help out on these, if only control thing or
Right.
something turn in there.
There's
There's a lot I haven't covered, skier loads and.
Yeah, there's a law about spilling your load on a roadway. I actually got talked to by a farmer also. And after that, I caught 2 of them here in town. I mean, there's a lot of people doing hauling shingles. And the 2 that I talked to, they had it secured. I mean, I would say it's probably not one of your businesses that are doing that. I'm guessing that it's probably a individual that just did it themselves. I don't know. But the vehicles I've seen, like A&R Roofing, and they always have a tarp over it. So but we'll try to catch it.
It was shaking out to the bottom, with the little trailer or something blowing off, shaking the
Right.
bottom, and not paying attention, just going down the road, and let it all go down the road.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a naval city going out there, and
I know. I went out to Kirk Keesling's last week, and the next morning I had a flat tire. So I'm well aware
you
of it.
know what road I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It goes to out there too.
Right.
And it is, we just have something done.
Right.
There is a fine if you don't have them secured like that.
Right. Yeah. If
If you
it's,
catch them.
right. But I thought about, which I will do. I don't know if Darren pays any attention when they come out there or not, but I'm sure he does.
I think he does.
Whether they're targeted or not, and he can probably give us an idea who's not targeted. So I'll talk to Darren today.
Well, I hadn't got a chance to see it, and
Yeah.
I hadn't had a chance to see Joseph this long ago. I was asking what we could do, and it would be terrible. I mean, that.
Yeah, it wouldn't be too much fun to fix your tire.
No. He said he might be able to put a camera. I said, I don't know how we put a camera out there. Of course, they went out to burn it to make sure people aren't
Right.
putting their own things out there.
Yeah.
That's why I don't come
Well,
in on the old 50.
Old 50 is not nothing like this dirt road.
Well, I mean, but still, they're hauling from Stafford over to.
Yeah, they are.
So I kinda stay off old 50.
Well, there's, I know that the city here has a, I guess it'd be a ordinance that they have to be tarp. But I'll look again, but the only law that I'm aware of on loads like that is spilling your load onto the roadway. I don't necessarily think there's a law that says you have to have a tarp, as long as it's not bouncing
But if
out.
someone to see them and report it, then you could do
Right.
an individual and try to.
Sure. But I will talk to Darren today, see if he has an idea who's.
Well, if maybe the people just know that someone might be watching, they might help out there too, just.
Right. And maybe I can say something to Terry at the newspaper, and Ron's already heard it, so maybe we can get it on the
So that
TV
we
and
got
in the paper.
somebody watching, maybe
Yep.
slow it down, and it's awesome, so I can see it be a mess out there.
Yeah. That it would.
Same thing with limbs over there, Max, when we went out to that tree down. Start out there and have to stop.
Dogs and limbs, yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you much.
Jeff?
Full recess. You're exactly on time.
Good. Okay, today I am going over the fiscal year '08 year-end outcomes. So everyone's pumped up on their coffee, right? Basically, there's some areas which we have a lot of success. There's some areas that I think just based on we're transitioning from our old way of doing business and into our risk reduction efforts. So this is kind of that gimme year that was half and half. So that's kind of explains why we didn't meet some of our targets. But just to start off, and I'll just hit a few of the high points. We had said that we would, everyone that entered into the program that on their assessment showed that there was a need for substance abuse counseling, that we would get them engaged, and we were at 96%, all of them but one person, and I think that there was other issues that needed to be taken care of before that, so I felt like we met the goal there. Overall, we had 102 offenders that were discharged from community corrections in FY08. 79% of those entered or were discharged without entering into the prison system. There were 20% of those that did go to the prison system, and we had reflected a success rate of 69%. Usually, I always consider 20% or below as far as a revocation rate to be where we need to be. Of course, we always strive, and our outcomes always will be that we continue to do better. And who knows, maybe someday we'll work ourselves out of a job, but just overall, overall, I always think around 20% is where we need to be. And I included a graph that showed where we are as far as the last, since FY06, which seems to be working in our favor. And then we move into the intervention programming, and this is when we had some outcomes based on our Gateway to Recovery or Substance Abuse program, and we wanted 60% of those, we had some other interventions going from our surveillance program and for our leisure and recreation, that we would engage them into have them being checked on by surveillance and noting what their associations, also with the leisure and recreation, that we would give them the information from our drug and alcohol-free information calendar. And we did not meet our outcome, and I think that's still us needing to be more involved with what they're doing in their free time. I've talked about that with our risk reduction efforts. So we'll continue to strive for that, but everyone, we give out calendars that say, you know, in the area, like basically what can they do, want to take gas if you go somewhere, and just, you know, maybe be a craft festival in this town, or, you know, underwater basket weaving, whatever it may be. We have this on our calendar, and then we want, but now we need to try to go the next step of how can we, or they say they like the information from the surveys that they give us, but, you know, does that mean, see that they are going to make a difference on their risk scores? I don't. So we're going to continue to strive for that. Our gateway to recovery, we met our goals. We wanted 60% of all those that entered into the programming to be successful. We reflected about 63% success rate on that. And then also that those that are engaged in that treatment will decrease their scores. So on with those things. Then we also had the cognitive skills classes. That's when we were transitioning from, the Department of Corrections was really pushing for one particular cognitive class when we were using a different curriculum. And then there were also the studies show that if you cannot have somebody engaged in more than one cognitive class. So, which it makes sense. You want them to kind of streamline their thinking on how they're problem solving. And so we didn't have a lot of those classes, just in transition and finding where everything fits. So that's basically where we're at in a nutshell. The fiscal year 08, these outcomes actually are really not having too much to do with the funding for fiscal year 09 or 010. It's because this was kind of, like I said, halfway through the year we were still learning about those new risk reduction efforts, and then the grant was submitted and we got the money to start implementing those in January of that year, so we were kind of in mid-year. So fiscal year 09, I guess, is more the year to watch. But if I could be happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, I'd ask for you to approve our outcomes and obviously submitted by the deadline.
Anyone have any questions for her?
I move that we accept these as she read them to us.
I'll second it.
Move to second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Let's go over. Let me, I've got a thing for you to sign here.
Yeah,
And then I'll send you a copy when I get it back.
We said about surveillance. Does that mean you actually,
We have a surveillance, special
or is it a
enforcement
bracelet?
officer.
Or
No, we have an officer
Oh,
that
okay.
goes out and checks on it. Actually, the officer that covers Stafford County is partially funded by the Barton County Sheriff.
No, you're right.
And,
Right there.
yeah, all right, Candy.
I don't know what they shadow.
Yeah.
Now, did you really
Sometimes
go
that would
there?
be, yeah. But they just come in, do random checks, make sure that they're home, that they're sober, and don't have any contraband in the house.
You know, the card signing thing that they had, I still say that thing is backwards somehow or other, I don't know. Because we've got guys that come over there to Kinsley, and they get it signed one time, and that may be the last time you see them, and you know that they're supposed to be getting that thing signed. So are they getting it signed at the beer joint, or where are they getting it
Yeah.
signed?
And sometimes, when we try to check, we always try to check, like, if they're getting someone signed, you get to know the signatures of those that are signing, you know, even if it's first name. But, and we compare them with other ones, you know, you have those that are invested in the programming.
Yeah.
But then we also have, there's those that are gonna forge it, and sometimes we check them, sometimes sometimes we catch them, sometimes we don't. But in the end, you know, it's themselves that they're hurting, and that is usually reflected in their behaviors in other
I
ways.
know we've checked through it, checked it over several times,
I know.
and it's kind of a joke, really.
Yeah, and
for those, like I said, you know who it's working
Yeah.
for, because they're talking more about it, they're, you know, have sponsors, they have people that they wanted, you know, they want to share, not necessarily what goes on in the meeting, but just of their experiences, so. It's one of those, once again, it's usually for the ones that are using it right, are the ones that are gonna benefit,
That's right.
so. Well,
Thank you.
great,
Thank you.
thanks a lot, have a great week.
Thank you.
Anything else? Anything else needed? I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned.